All right,
Yep.
live stream is recording. Let's get this going. Can't do anything without this. Hey, everybody. Welcome to tuning into the program. My name is James. With me is Chris, and this is FuelStopChats. It's a podcast where we talk about, well, anything. We try to talk about motorcycles, but not always. So tune in, enjoy, and hope you like it. Could be another tomfoolery night of James's shitty ability to record.
What is it you do for a living again?
Yeah.
Sell
Let's not get
IT
into that.
stuff. Yeah.
I lead people. That's what I do.
I meet people. My daughter said in the 8th grade when she asked me to come in for career day, the teacher said, "Oh, it'd be great. What's he do for a living?" She said, "He talks for a living."
Yeah.
All right. Whatever.
Well, I had one. My daughter had some friends up here over Easter for the week. And one of the girls that was up here, she was getting ready to present. She was nominated and presenting to her sorority to become, I guess, the vice president of the sorority. And I had just gone through simple stuff of, talking like Ted. What's the one that you turned me on to? I can't think it off the top of my head now. Resonate.
Yeah. Nancy Duart's book.
Yep, and just talking about stuff like that, and record yourself, and
Yeah.
it's cringy, but get your storyline, and I said the biggest thing is she was talking about there's other people that she's in competition with. I was like, you're not in competition with anybody except yourself. And she stopped.
Tell
And
your
she
story.
looked at me. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, who cares what their story is? What's yours? You're in competition with nobody but you. And she looked at me and she goes, are you a life coach? I was like, shit, I probably could be, couldn't I? Huh. I said, you're not the coach. We're talking bad news bears. I am Walter Matthau. Do not get involved.
Life coach James. It's like I told my kids when they were growing up, look, I don't always have the right answer. I don't even have the answer sometimes. But I definitely can tell you what not to do.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really good at that.
Yeah. Any big trips planned other than being up at your place in the Carolinas?
Well, I did a nice little trip last week. I had to go to Nashville, and I looked at the map, and it was interstates the whole way, and I was like, that's 5 hours of interstates or 6 hours of back roads. So I took some beautiful back roads. I'll have to map it out and figure it all out. I just
Point west.
Yeah, just sort of went that way. Small towns, meeting threes the whole way. It was great. Beautiful country. Found, on the way back, the middle of nowhere in the mountains, and there was just 2 gas stations and a barbecue shack. I was like, well, might as well top off. Go get some barbecue. It was one of them cash-only top operations. Perfect.
I love it.
It was great.
Yeah. Okay.
And then next week I'm heading out to Raleigh for a night, so I'm gonna take a ride out to Raleigh. I'm sort of pressed for time on that one, so I will be taking mostly the interstates on that. But I reached out to our long and good friend, the editor-in-chief of Roadrunner magazine, Florian Neuthauser.
Yeah.
And by the way, have you seen the GS that they're giving away?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Florian said, hey, go ahead and pimp the GS. I was like, all right, yeah, no problem. So if you're listening, if you have never read Roadrunner magazine, it's touring and guides for motorcycling. It's a phenomenal magazine. The stories they put together are all brought together by writers and readers. They're not paid for what they do. It's really about the photography. They're smaller stories, 1,000 words or less, Some I think are 1,300, depending on what you're doing with the story. So they're easy reads. They're good reads. There's some great roads out there. I've planned many a trip, after reading an article in that magazine. But for the next few months, they are having a free giveaway. There's no stipulation. You don't even have to subscribe to the magazine. If you go to roadrunnermagazine.com or roadrunner.com, Google Roadrunner Magazine. You will find their website. You can log in there and click on, throw my name in the hat for this giveaway. It's a gorgeous GS1300 2026. It's spectacular. But he's going to be bringing it out this way for a photo shoot either next week or the week after. I'm waiting to hear back from him. But I'm going to try to get over to him over in Fontana, over in the villages over in Fontana Lake, for a photo shoot with the bike and just go hang out with him, go have some lunch somewhere. But it would be good to catch up with him. But he's excited to try to find some time and get back on here with us, see what's going on. But I know the last time that we had talked, you said that you had a story for me.
Well, I'm not a story. It's
You
Roadrunner.
wouldn't allude to anything. You wouldn't tell me anything because you didn't want to ruin it. So I've been in suspense for a few weeks.
Roadrunner.travel, by the way.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, as far as trips go, I've got a West Virginia waterfalls tour that me and a couple of guys are going to do. And just a lot of back roads, West Virginia. You know how that is, man. Nice twisties, good elevation changes. Go look at some waterfalls and good food and have a good long weekend.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, the topics, two topics. One, this came up last, I'm all over the place. Let me start with this, speaking of travel.
All right.
And I know that you still do, I don't. I used to fly like 2-3 times a week somewhere. And
I don't. I really don't. I don't really travel anymore. It's beautiful. I love it.
Awesome. So yeah, so cool. So, but I was like I said, I was one of those guys that could do 100,000 miles on United and never leave the United States. That's how often I was flying.
That's horrible.
In all the years of traveling and flying, and I've never seen what I saw on Facebook yesterday. A woman strips down buck naked and poops in her seat.
Hmm?
Yeah. In all the years of flying, I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen women get thrown off for not being willing to put their purse in the overhead. I've seen women get kind of side-eyed and blackballed from the drink cart. I've seen a lot of stuff. But I've never seen a woman strip down naked, jump up in her seat, and take a crap. So, have you?
No.
Mind-boggling. What? I told my wife, I go, I am so glad that I'm not doing that anymore. Because if it would have been me, I'd have been like, land at the nearest airport, get the cleaning service to come get this crap, get the state troopers to take that crap, and then let's get on down the road. Unbelievable.
Wow. I'm sort of speechless on that. I mean, I've heard some crazy stories about, comfort pets being an ostrich or something crazy. I've seen the, people screaming and yelling or just crazy. The only two crazy stories I have on a plane, one involves me. The other I witnessed. The one that involved me was a long time ago. I was in the Army. I was flying up to Bangor, Maine, and I was going from, what was that, Fort Campbell. I think it was at Fort Campbell. Maybe I was at Bragg. I don't know. I had to go somewhere. I had a layover, so I had to change planes. I got on the second plane, and I'm sitting there, and they're boarding. And I'm not an avid flyer at this point. The only time I got on a plane is with a parachute, and I jumped out of it. So commercial flight was sort of new and, mysterious to me. I sit.
Exciting.
I mean, I've got my window seat, and this guy sits down next to me, and he just reeks of cigarettes. And he's trying to talk to me, and I mean, I haven't really. My persona hasn't changed much in my whole lifetime. Fuck you. I have enough friends. Don't talk to me. That's really the vibe that I'm giving. But he's drunk off his ass, and he's just yapping. Stewardess comes back, and she's like, "You are out of here. You were just in the bathroom. You smoking a cigarette in the bathroom. I've called, police. They're coming to get you." And she looks at me and she goes, "And you're going with them." I was like, "Whoa, what?" She goes, "You're friends with him. You're with him. You're traveling with him." I was like, "No, I'm not. I don't know this dude. He's yapping in my ear, smells of cigarettes and booze. You can back off on that. You have anything on me?" I don't think so. Two cops showed up. They looked at me. I was like, I pulled out my military ID. I was like, "Ask that guy if he's got one of these. He's got one of these, I'll go with you. But I'm guaranteeing you he doesn't." And they just looked at my ID. They're like, "You're good." Yeah, I know I am. Get that shit out of here. The other one was, I sat down,
Oh man.
and there was this there's this big guy sitting in like the row ahead of me. I'm not in business. I'm like that. I got an extra 6 inches of room section. The door closes. This guy stands up. I'm like, "What's this guy doing?" He gets up. He walks all the way to the back of the plane. Dennis Rodman walks up from the back of the plane and sits down in this seat. And I'm like, "All right, well, that was actually sort of cool." He just got on first, went all the way to the back, didn't want to have to deal with everybody stopping and looking at him and pointing fingers. He had, one of his handlers sit in that seat, hold it. He swapped seats. Sort of surprised he wasn't in business class. He is Dennis Rodman. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching him. And he is out of his mind. I don't know what he's on, but he's on something good. He's got dark glasses on, and it's just, he's got like this bag, like a purse. It's this huge bag. And the stewardess comes over. She's like, "So you're going to have to put that in the overhead bag," because he's all the way up against the bulkhead. So there's no room. There's nothing for him to slide it up under the seat in
Right.
front of him. And he's like, "Why?" And she goes, "Because it could fly." And so he put his size, 16 feet on top of it and just looked at her. He's like, "I don't think it's going anywhere." And she just didn't want to deal with that, so she left it go. But I watched him the whole flight, and he's just digging shit out of this purse. I mean, there was money falling on the floor, just crumpled up bills, food, bottles, just trash. I couldn't believe it. And then, as he left, I was like, "Hey, as a guy from Chicago, I'm a fan. Thank you for the rings." He's like, "Thanks, man." And then he walked off the plane. But this was right after all the China shit that he had gotten himself involved with. So I
Yeah.
don't think he was in a lot of good press at that point. Those are the only two crazy things I've really seen.
Yeah, I mean, I've had planes catch on fire, landing gear not work, stuff like that, but nothing really exciting.
No, not at all.
The two motorcycle related topics, though, that I wanted to throw out there. One, it just came up again in a thread. I thought that I would never see it again, but riding the dark side
Yeah, I was going to
popped
say,
up,
what, going with a regular tire on the back of the bike?
the car tire on the back.
I don't see why people have bent out of shape out of this. It's not your bike. It's not your ride.
Yeah, whatever somebody does to their bike, I could care less. It's
Yeah.
when I hear these, I read these threads. I don't usually comment because, like I said, your bike, you do what you want, But I do know that a car tire for $45 for 45,000 miles makes a lot of sense when you pay $310 for a tire that lasts 4,500 miles.
If that.
Yeah, if that. And so anyway, yeah, I just wanted your thoughts quick on that, because
I haven't
like
done it on any of my bikes. I'm not
not
against it. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I mean, if I was road warring across the nation on a Harley, I might. Or a Goldwing, I might. But I'm in too many curvy roads. I don't like highway riding. I don't like getting on an interstate and droning for 10 hours. That's not my
Yeah.
ideal day. If you're doing that kind of riding, and that's the only riding that you're doing, maybe. I don't know what the comfort level is on that, with that tire. I don't know what the noise level is on that or the handling. I heard that, there's a little bit of a cup right there, when you sort of,
We real
tip a
sharp.
little bit. Um, I, I like the tires that are on my bike. I got the GT4 Pros or whatever they are. I'm good. Or fives. I
Yeah.
can't remember what I've got on mine.
I got sixes on mine, the Michelin PR6 GTs,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I love them. But anyway, the Dark Side Riders. If you're listening, peace to you, man. Goodwill. But it looks like the Fuel Stop Chat is. We're staying with what we got on the bikes.
Yeah.
Second topic that came up the other day that was an interesting thread was the whole debate about. Have you read much about MEPS helmets?
A little
Yeah.
bit.
So, the whole idea that your head's allowed to float basically inside your helmet to reduce concussions and things like that. And somebody asked me about it. And I said, look, man, if you're paying $500-600 for a helmet and the MEPS version of the helmet only makes it $34 more, sure, why not? What I mean, an extra point for protecting your noggin for $34. I mean, why not? Now, if the helmet went from 500 to 800, being 63 years old and having ridden with stuff that I wouldn't play baseball in, it's like I don't know. It's kind of like seatbelts in the Camaro. My wife gets on me
Yeah.
about not wearing seatbelts in the Camaro, and I'm like, babe, literally sitting in the garage in the Camaro, looking at my motorcycle, and I'm like, honey, you let me ride that bike thousands of miles and you're worried about me in a seatbelt in a by the way all steel car
A 1969 car. Yeah.
like like so
So no,
anyway.
maybe I'm not familiar. Talk a little bit more about these helmets. No, I don't know what these helmets are. I thought you were talking about something totally different. I was
No,
thinking they're like the plastic versions of like the ballistic helmets that people are wearing. No,
oh
so
no
I'm
no
not familiar with this.
yeah no these MEPS helmets, the way they're designed, it's like your oh what's the bet you know how the web gear in your steel pot would kind of suspend your head around the steel pot didn't really sit on your head, it kind of
Yeah, it just sort of
right.
bounced around.
Yeah, your MEPS gear, but the theory is that by allowing your head to have that extra, so you've got the concussive force that the helmet takes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But your head, moving in the helmet,
Oh,
it's as if it's as if it's one piece, right? Your head and your helmet. Now you add this MEPS layer, and what it does is it gives your head just a little bit more safety or float to it. So the helmet's not just styrofoam, and
oh
a
no, I'd
shell.
be all over that. Yeah, even if it was $100 more, I would be all over that.
Yeah. So anyway, I recommended the MEPS helmet and said, hey, I think for the money, and it was a nominal price difference. It was almost like if it was really that big a deal, would they charge more? I don't know, but it didn't add a ton of cost to the helmets.
I'd
So
be curious
I
what
was
the
just
comfort
curious.
level was, if it bounces around or what the noise level is.
Oh, it's tight. It's tight. It's not. It ain't like you think like floaty. The design is such that your helmet is going to take a certain amount of concussive force, but
Hmm.
then your head is suspended in the helmet so that it even more reduces the shock directly to your head. Like my helmet, I have the Neotech 2 to
Yeah,
show
we
you.
both have the same helmet.
Yeah. So anyway, so that helmet, it's a snug fit, right? But you could imagine like if you hit your helmet, your head's kind of right there,
Yeah,
right? Where this creates another little layer of float, and I'm over exaggerating the movement. It's not
of
like
course. Yeah,
that.
it's not going to be like that.
but they say, science is science, and the numbers are what they are. They say your melon can move around just enough that it greatly reduces the concussive impact, even more than a standard helmet. So I was like, look, if you're going to buy a helmet, wear a helmet. And again, I hear the debate about no helmets and all that stuff. And look, I grew up on bikes. I learned my lesson when I was a young kid about wearing a helmet. And from that day forward, I've always I'm going to wear a helmet.
Yep.
I mean, but there are guys that love riding without them, and okay, whatever
Each
you
their
do.
own.
Yeah, it hasn't really dramatically impacted my insurance much that guy rides without a helmet, so I don't care,
Nope.
right? But anyway, I didn't know if you'd read about these MEPS helmets or if you'd been
No,
up on
I
that.
hadn't.
If anybody listening has a comment, hit us up on Facebook, hit us up. You know how to get a hold of us. And let me know what you think about the MEPS helmets. But again, from what I've read and from what I've seen, and the fact that it doesn't really add a tremendous amount of cost to the helmet, you can go to your normal like Revzillas and places like that. If anybody from Revzilla is listening and wants to send me a MEPS helmet to try out and talk about, I'm down.
Oh yeah, yeah. Make it two.
Yeah, but
Size large.
when you search, yeah, extra large. When you search for helmets, and you put in MEPS MEPS helmets, they have a whole category. They have their own category, and several manufacturers are offering the MEPS helmets now. And you look down through the price list compared to, say, a Scorpion helmet with MEPS and a Scorpion helmet without. It's really not that big a difference in price. So, my 2 cents was, hey, for an extra 1% safety when it comes to your noggin, why not?
Yeah. Well, I bought a new Shoei last year, so I don't see a new helmet in my future for a while.
Yeah, me neither. It'll be a while. A while. I know every 5 years you're supposed to buy new ones, but I got news for you. This $800 helmet's going to get $800 worth of use out of it.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. It's not like the expiration on milk. I'll let it go a little bit.
Yeah, no. The Alaska trip, I tell you what, man, the modular helmet on the trip to Alaska, I don't know. I can't say enough good things about that helmet. I mean, I've put that thing
People
through
don't like them.
literally.
There's people that don't like a modular helmet. I don't understand why.
Noise. They say that the full faces are quieter, but I got to tell you, I've got a full face helmet, regular traditional full face helmet,
Yeah.
and I've gone out and I did exactly 5 miles. I came back, I swapped out my helmet, I put the modular on, I did 5 miles. Windscreen, same adjustment, didn't change anything. And buddy, let me tell you, if there's a decibel or two difference, it's not discernible to these ears. I didn't find it to be that big of a deal. Maybe they had a bad experience with an old modular helmet. I hear guys all the time saying, "Oh, this is the number one spot for impact," and I'm like, "Look, yes, you can click it and lift it up, and the other ones you can't. Okay, great. But if you look at those steel pins and how they're made into the helmet,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that I've seen guys face first hit the asphalt with a modular helmet, that's still way better than this."
Yep.
You know.
So
So
I
anyway,
I did test something out on my Nashville ride. So for my birthday last year, my wife got me a pair of those Ray-Ban sunglasses that they're the Meta glasses. They've got the cameras in them.
oh yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
mic'd up. They're
Speakers.
speakers. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I notice when I wear them, if like I put a hoodie on or if I just cut my ears, I can hear that sound so much better. And it sounds pretty damn good. The Meta glasses, if you've never tried them, they're worth taking a listen
One of
to.
the guys on the roofing crew wears them all the time.
So I know that with that Shoei helmet, the Neotech 2, there's a little indent for glasses, so you can put glasses on and off. So I tried them, on the Shoei because I wanted to see how much of the sound quality was better than the Sena speakers that are in there, and uncomfortable as shit. Holy cow! They're just too big. They're too heavy, and they're pressing down on my nose
Bridge
really
your
hard.
nose.
But yeah, the sides of those glasses are just they're too deep. They're too thick.
Too wide. Yeah.
So yeah, it was really uncomfortable. The sound was great for the 1 minute that I wore them. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
if anybody's thinking
These,
about that, it didn't work out that well.
I'm lucky. I don't know if Jersey listens to our podcast or not, but my optometrist, well, it's him and his wife, but he had me bring my helmet in to try glasses on.
Smart
He's
man.
like, dude, just bring your helmet in, because I was complaining about sunglasses and the fact that they have to be prescription sunglasses.
Yeah.
And so what I ended up buying for prescription sunglasses, they don't look too dissimilar from reading glasses. They're a little thicker frame than these, but they're thin. They're taller, but they're thin, so they slide in pretty easy. The only problem I have is, and you found this out when we were riding down in Georgia, or where were we? Where was that? We rented those little cabins. Kim Moon was with us. Doug Drobish was down.
I was Tennessee, North Carolina. We were in Tellico Plains.
Tellico Plains, that's right. I remember the guy smoking hamburgers for us one night. Anyway, I put those sunglasses on. We got to the Two Wheels of Such a spot,
Oh,
and I
great place.
felt like I was queasy.
Mm-hmm.
And I took those glasses off and put my regular glasses on, and all of a sudden I felt better. That's my only problem with the. So now I just wear these, pull the visor down, and
Yeah, that sun
listen.
visor on that helmet is really good.
Yeah, it works great. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, it's not a high dollar polarized lens like my prescription sunglasses, but between that and these, it's perfectly fine. I've never had an issue. And the other thing I like is even before I started wearing reading glasses or any kind of eyeglasses, stopping at night, taking your sunglasses off, and all that whole rigmarole. I love being able to just push a button, flip the sun visor up, and keep on rocking. And these out in the sun, they get black. I mean, so I don't have to travel with sunglasses as far as that goes. It's just that. But anyway, I didn't know if you'd heard about the MEBS helmets or had any thoughts on it.
No, I'm gonna look into those though.
That was the other topic that I had. Motorcycle rider related stuff. Only other thing I would tell you is I bought a pair of TCX Urban riding boots. They look like black work boots,
Yeah.
but they're Gore-Tex. Best freaking boot that I've had on.
Really? I've looked at
Love-
some of the TCXs before because what's that? Cycle Gear. They usually carry a fairly good range of the TCX boots.
Yeah, and I love TCX. I've got a pair of summer, fully vented, really nice TCX riding boots I wear when it's short trips. I know it's going to be nice weather. I've got the TCX Gore-Tex, touring boots. But these Urbans, you put them on, pair of jeans, and it looks just like a regular
Yeah, I'll have
nice
to
work.
check those out because I'm in the market for a pair of new boots. When I did the Nashville ride, I did notice that the boots that I have now, and I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, they're just a black leather boot, zip up on the sides. They've got the extra patch there for the gear shifter. They're steel heels, steel toes. So they're a solid boot. I had gotten them at Cycle Gear, but there's no traction on the bottom anymore. They're just sort of smoothed out. So they're really, really slippery.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah,
like that very much.
these are called TCX Blend 2 waterproof boots. I don't know
Okay.
how well you can see that, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just nice lace up boot. Anyway, I was going to tell you about those. I took those to Alaska and had never worn them. Literally, they showed up like 2 days before my trip.
Oh
Threw them in the
geez.
bag, took off, and I figured, you know what? They're either going to work or they're not. But I didn't. I didn't take two pair of boots, and they are waterproof. I can
Hmm.
guarantee you that, because we got plenty of rain on the way back. They I like the they're not totally like rubberized, no skid, but they do grip pretty decent when you put your feet down at a stoplight or something. But the best thing about it was I had never worn these boots at all, and I put them on at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and take them off at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and walked quite a bit of hiking around and perfectly fine boots, man. Totally waterproof. They've got the little, your ankle bone protection, on
Yep,
each
yep, yep.
side. They're lace up boots, so they're not zip up super quick and easy. But the only thing I would suggest that if TCX was going to improve on it was just speed lace them. That'd make it great if they were speed laces. But anyway, I did want to mention that. That was the only other those were the three product conversations that the Dark Side Riders. I saw a thread. It blew up like it always does.
Oh, it always does.
And then I saw the MEPS helmet thing. A buddy of mine's wife has given him the thumbs up to go ahead and get his license. He's all excited about getting his motorcycle license. Then she texts me and says, "Hey, his birthday's coming up. Could you help me pick out a helmet for him?" And so I asked
You're
her, like,
gonna
"Hey,
get him a MEPS.
what kind of price range, whatever?" And she said, "What do you think about the new MEPS helmets?" That took me down this whole research path.
Hmm.
So I nerded out on that. And I thought, you know what, that's a good question to talk about on the podcast. If anybody's out there wearing MEPS helmets or not, what are your thoughts? Curious to see what everybody thinks. Like James said, my Shoei Neotech 2 hit me in the wallet hard enough that it'll probably be a while. It might be so long that I'll forget to wear a helmet by the time I need a new helmet. I'll just be that old.
Well, speaking of getting old, in
Ruh-roh.
new gadgets, I came across something. Let me back the story up a little bit. My father, 87. He's got very limited mobility. Uses a walker, uses a cane. Can't really do more than 20 steps without his legs being sort of done.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a shitty way to live. So I came across something from a company called Hypershell, and these things they're called the Hypershell X, and they're an exoskeleton leg
Yep.
brace.
Yep.
You've seen these?
So you know the story about my grandson.
Yep.
So Liam's being fitted for some exoskeleton stuff.
So they're on Amazon. I bought a pair. They get here Tuesday. I'm going to try them out. They're totally AI driven, so it feels the pressure when you start to move forward, gives you up to a 40% lift on your legs. Went down the rabbit hole on a couple different Reddit threads, time that I can never get back, but it was informational. There was some really good videos. I watched this one guy. He, he's on top of like this, call it a summit if you want, a fairly large hill. And he's saying, yeah, it usually takes me 10 to 20 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes to get to the top of this. I'm pretty winded because I just did it in three and a half minutes. Never lost my breath. So they start at like $800. The ones on Amazon were like the next rank up. They're the Pro X or X Pros or something like that. Instead of 40 watts, it's 80 watts. A little bit longer lifetime on the battery, maybe. I'm not sure. Both are the same weight. They weigh about 4 pounds total. It's a brace. It clips around your waist, and then there's straps that clip onto your thighs. And these metal bars, they just lift your legs for you when you go to walk. You move forward, it can automatically tell by the pressure that you're giving it how far of a gait you're going to go, and it learns in like zero point 0.2 milliseconds, and adjusts any of the pressures that you're giving as far as when you want to put your foot down. So it was like $1,000 for these things. It's on Amazon, so there's a 30-day return policy. You're not getting it. I've bought stuff, or let me say that, take that back. I've ordered stuff from various companies before where it was like, that is a really cool gadget. I must have that in my life. A year later, I'm still waiting for it and getting the automatic replies of, no, we're having technical issues with our producers overseas, and no, give me my money back. All right, let me get my bank involved because you're just being stupid. This is at Amazon. I'm trusting Amazon. It says it's supposed to be here Tuesday. Uh, I'm going to try them out. I'm heading back to Tampa next week for a jump with the nonprofit that I work with, which is maybe next podcast I'll get into that. I would really like to dive into that for any of our listeners that used to be paratroopers that want to do that again. I got a way for you to do it. But I'm going to try these out, and if they work really good, I'm going to fly up and try to put that cat in the burlap bag as I try to strap these things on my dad, because I know he's not going to want them. But hopefully once he gets them on and realizes that maybe this could give him a quality of life back where, hey, if we're going to go to the mall, I could actually get out of the car and make it into the mall. Could be pretty good. So I'll let you
No,
know
I,
about those.
yeah, I was trying to find the ones that they were talking about trying for Liam, and the video that they showed us from the physical therapy place down in Baltimore. They said that people that are completely paralyzed are actually walking with these exoskeletons.
Yeah, and there's some massive exoskeletons that do the whole body for paraplegics. Uh, I did see some videos on this hyper shell where there's a guy that's paralyzed the waist down, and he's on the like the not the pull-up bars, the parallel bars, the walking, and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's got these on, and he's learning how to just sort of, he throws his hips and it makes the sensor go and it lifts his leg and puts it down, and he's retraining his legs how to work. So they're
Well,
being used for that.
that's what the point is with this exoskeleton. The thought is that he can. So he still has a little bit of the foot drop, and
Hmm.
so he wears what they call a bioness. And what it does is every time he takes a step, it stimulates that part of his leg that pulls the foot
Okay.
up, and that's getting progressively better as he gets stronger. But he learned to walk again without using his right leg much, and so he's got this sling his leg kind of gait now where
He's got a
and
pimp walk.
they're trying to get him to hey dude, like get back to walking with a normal gait. And what this exoskeleton does is it does that. It
Yeah.
makes it so it creates new muscle memory, because the brain's basically building new pathways and connections, and it gets his brain to say, this is a good step, good gait, and develop that muscle memory again. But anyway, I hope it gives your dad some quality of life and some freedom of mobility, because man, I tell you what, that is, man, that's everything,
It
right? I
is.
mean,
But I was
it's a
thinking,
big
you would. I know your dad's probably still walks 20 miles a day, baling hay.
no, no,
But
he's
I know he's getting up there in age, and these things happen. Just the body wears down. The muscle
yeah,
mass just doesn't grow, and when that strength goes, it's gone.
yeah.
And it's interesting because the company really targets hikers, adventure seekers, and I'm thinking to myself, we've got a billion-dollar, trillion-dollar market of people getting into ages where they can't do this stuff anymore. Shift
Yeah.
your focus. Go to the people
Yeah.
that have money. Because
You would think.
yeah, because their videos are. Oh, I wanted to go on a 20-mile hike, and it's like a 20-year-old person. I'm like, it's not a lot of 20-year-old people that can just throw away $1,500 for a pair of carbon fiber legs to go hiking 20 miles. Suck it up,
Yeah.
millennial. Just just fucking walk. Get the guy that is having trouble getting to his mailbox in the afternoon.
Oh. I read a great article just earlier tonight, and it was talking about a comment that was made by a senator from New York, and about how the country, anyway, the generation not understanding, what how much they you know how much they have to do without. And someone in that age group, 26 years old, said, I'm sitting in a Starbucks on my MacBook connected to Wi-Fi, and I'm reading this comment by this senator about how underprivileged and everything that the millennials think they are. And she said, even the poorest of the poor in the United States, they're considered 30 times better off than the poorest of the poor in the rest of the world. And the
Oh yeah,
kids the kids that feel like they're never going to experience, it was basically saying that the millennials are never going to know prosperity. And this senator from New York, I think that's where O'Case, whatever her name is from, made this comment about there's a whole generation of kids that are not going to know what prosperity in this country is. And she said, I'm 26, I'm sitting in a Starbucks, and I'm on my MacBook, and I'm reading this, and I'm looking outside at all these nice cars going by, and I'm thinking to myself, like, prosperity's all around you. Like, what are
yeah,
you talking about?
yeah.
And
I,
you
I
talk
saw a
about,
report. I
yeah,
remember
it's
when they had, everybody was talking about one percenters, the one percenters, 1% of the world, blah blah blah. And
yeah,
I remember reading an article, and it was basically, if you live within the United States of America, no
yeah,
matter where you are in that economical ladder, you are living in the 1% of the world
yes. Yes, the poorest person in the United States is still in the top 1%
of the
compared
globe.
to the rest of the world. And to say that our kids are never going to know prosperity, it's like,
They're
holy
already in it.
cow, man.
Yeah.
You what you need to do is you need to drop them off with a canteen and a freaking knife in the jungle somewhere and say, let's figure it out. I'll see you in a month or I won't. And then compare and contrast that to your life every day as to whether or not you think you're going to experience prosperity. Unbelievable statement. I just, anyway, I'm on a rant, but to your point about the millennial, that's what triggered that memory. I think it's incredible that somebody would be so naive as to say the millennials, the generation that never will experience prosperity. I was like, man, you really got to be on some seriously good drugs. Unbelievable.
Yep.
Um, anyway, we've covered some good motorcycle
Yeah, we
topics.
have.
I'll make sure. I think it's going to be June. One last thing I would say is the kids did the Red Shoe Run for the Ronald McDonald House fundraiser. They said that they were able to raise 1.3 million, I think, over the weekend for the Ronald McDonald House. Whether you eat at McDonald's or you just get a cup of coffee at McDonald's or you don't, if you're going through a McDonald's drive-through or if you stop even for an ice cream cone, ask them to round it up for Ronald McDonald House. That place has been an incredible blessing to our family, and my
and
daughter.
a million, yeah, and a lot of families. I can't I can't say enough about that organization,
Unbelievable.
and what they've done.
Unbelievable. My daughter's post on Facebook about the Red Shoe Run, it really choked me up. I probably should have shared it because it was so well written and it was so. I said, man, you ought to send this to the people at the Ronald McDonald House
Mm-hmm.
because you're a real mom that had a real situation, and the way that she talks about the Ronald McDonald House. So anyway, if you're out there listening and you get a chance, round it up for the Ronald McDonald House, and that'll be my last plug for the night.
Yeah, and I'll just throw out an apology for the creepiness of my video camera. I am outside with my light on, and there's bugs all over the place, and I keep watching this huge freaking bug just crawl across the camera. So you'll have to go back and watch that. I'm watching it
It's just
as it went across the first time. I was like, and then it went all the way to the end, turned around and started coming back, and you started getting to the Ronald McDonald House. And I wanted to say, hey, watch this, but I couldn't stop you. It just walked across, and you just see the body of this massive flying death trap go across the
it'll
camera.
it'll go well with the auto tune voice every once in a while,
Oh, am I getting that?
and the magic moments where you're leaned back smoking and then click, you're here.
Well, it shouldn't have that because everything records locally and then uploads.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man.
So hopefully that works out good.
Yeah,
All right.
well, maybe the recorded version's kind of like the audio deal. Maybe it sounds better, looks better. They fix it. I don't know.
Exactly.
Play us out, brother.
I'll play us out. Ride her out, buddy.
Write her out.
Don't shut your thing until we get the 100%.
Never shut it off until the thing does the thing, and then you see the thing,
And with the
and then you
guy.
gotta wait for the thing, and it'll tell you the thing. It goes into the thing.
Yeah,
I'm waiting on the thing to go to the thing.
Yeah,
so I'm
shut up.
waiting. I got you.
Yep.
Love you, man.
You too, brother. Well, play, damn it.
Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun,
What's going on? Go live.
Go live. We need to do outtakes of you just working with the technology. If that don't make you want to get a bourbon and a cigar,
I'm telling
nothing
you,
will.
brother. Yeah, it's just that's toe tapping goodness.
I'm telling you, I can't help it. Every single time,
Toe
it's like
tapping goodness.
whoever put that little ditty together, man.
That's Academy Award shit right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's all the engineer.
All right, I'm hitting stop. Later, brother.
See you, bro.